Welcome to That Thing I Read That Time, where I take a book and translate it into a visual representation or mind map to hopefully encourage new thoughts, ideas, and connections. Hope you enjoy. Talking today about man's search for meaning, I'm going to hit on, but he quotes Nietzsche and says, "He who has a why to live for can bear with almost any how." This is the guiding motto that he really impresses upon. He says, whenever there was an opportunity for it, one had to give them a why, an aim for their lives, in order to strengthen them to bear the terrible how of their existence. Woe to him who saw no more sense in his life, no aim, no purpose, and therefore no point in carrying on. He was soon lost. The typical reply to which such a man rejected all encouraging arguments was, "I have nothing to expect from life anymore." What sort of answer can one give to that? What was really needed was a fundamental change in our attitude towards life. We had to learn ourselves, and furthermore, we had to teach the despairing man that it did not really matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expected from us. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life and instead to think of ourselves as those who were being questioned by life, daily and hourly. Our answer must consist not in talk and meditation, but in the right action and in the right conduct. Life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer and to its problem to fill the task which is constantly set for each individual. He goes on and talks about this some more, but it's really amazing the way that, as this book says, Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about the meaning of life. One of the ways that he was able to find meaning was to think about his profession and imagine himself in the future as if he were teaching his students. So he recognized the way psychologically that prisoners developed. So he says initially there is a state of shock, and people are thinking, no, this isn't real, this can't happen, I'm going to be released. Some people even tried to hide their manuscripts in their clothing, thinking that they were going to be let go, and then if their manuscripts were found while they were stripping and bathing them, then they would try to convince the guards to hold on to the manuscripts to give them back to them whenever they got out again. So the next one is self-defense. This is a level of apathy, and he talks about this a lot, the apathy that takes over and helps someone protect their mind, but it is a protective shell that happens. Finally, the next phase is he talks about depersonalization. And this is the process of getting stuck in the victim oppressor, where the victim actually becomes the oppressor. And he tells a story of whenever they got out, this one man was walking through a field destroying the vegetables, and he tried to get him to stop. And he said, "Why? My life is over, my wife is dead, I have nothing. What does it matter if I kill these vegetables?" So when it comes to understanding meaning and understanding how to have an amazing perspective in life and deal with hard things, highly recommend this book. One of the things, the unexpected benefits I got from this book was understanding better the concept of destiny, really trying to figure out what is destiny. So if all of these people in this camp, including the victim, including the oppressor, including the professor, right, that was observing all of this, including the kind people, everyone, if all of them were in the same location, then is it possible that their location is their destiny? I would argue it's not, because even though they were all in the same location, they were all experiencing very different lives. So I would say that the location is not the destiny. So then what is it? Could it be the role that they played? So when it came down to it, the role that they played in their lives that made it so that no matter where they were experiencing very different lives, according to the kind of the point of the book, is that all of this comes down to power. So if this is the form of their power, the role that they're playing, then could we call that their destiny? This sounds a lot like archetypes. One of the things he says is that no situation repeats itself and each situation calls for a different response. So again, is our response our destiny? Is that who it is that we're supposed to be? Are we destined to be a helper? He says sometimes the situation in which a man finds himself may require him to shape his own fate by action. Okay, so if we're shaping our own fate, again, coming down to power, then that means that we have the ability to move between roles. So our role cannot be our destiny. He says sometimes man may be required to accept fate and to bear his cross. Okay, so one of the things that we don't have to accept, the fate that we don't have to accept, is the role that we're in. He says, when a man finds it in his destiny to suffer, he will have to accept his suffering as his task, his single task. So my thought is that if I decide that it is my fate or role to be a victim, then I am going to turn every situation into a victim situation. Therefore, my role of victimhood has made every location my destiny of imprisonment. So he continues, no one can relieve him of his suffering or suffer in his place. Okay, so that makes sense to me because we choose to feel suffering, to suffer. Another man cannot take on that same load and have it be effortless because a professor may take on a load of suffering and realize that he is not suffering because this is a learning opportunity for him. And then someone in the gym may take on a heavy weight and decide that it is helping them grow strength. So suffering can't be destiny because suffering is a choice based off of the power that we are exercising. He continues, his unique opportunity lies in the way in which he bears his burden. So if I am trudging through life, then my role that I'm playing of victimhood makes every location something that I have to trudge through, and I am experiencing suffering because of who it is that I've chosen to be. So failure to exercise my power is what is creating my destiny, because we can turn any location, any situation into suffering based off of who it is that we choose to be and the role it is that we're playing in this life. And so through our power, we can change our response. And that right there is the ability to rewrite our stars. So in the end, the world that we experience and the life that we live, whether or not we experience suffering, whether a location is something that we survive or that we find a way to explore the light and help others and be the person that we choose to be, all comes down to our power, our choice, and our response. So in the end, the destiny that we experience is the one that we create.